many of us are so busy doing, we don't have time to talk about it. And that's just the way it is. The other part is that we're not really good at bragging about ourselves. Like having this conversation right now is really kind of hard. Like you said, tell me about who you are. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't want to tell you who I am because I just want to go do it. I don't want to talk about myself, and so that's hard for us.
Welcome back to Orthostatic, the podcast of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy. In this episode, I'm going to talk with Bob Rowe, the president of the Academy, and the two of us would like to welcome you to this podcast, tell you a little bit about what we envision and what's coming in the future of this podcast, and also talk about some of our favorite things going on in the Academy right now and some of the projects that we're working on and what you'll be seeing over the next year or two. So thank you. I hope you enjoy this episode and stay through to the end. We talked to Bob a little bit about his origin stories in the Academy and how he came to be in leadership in the American Physical Therapy Association. So thank you. I hope you enjoy it and come back soon for new episodes. Hello, welcome back to Orthostatic, the podcast of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy. I am James Spencer, the Vice President of the Academy, and today with me, I have Bob Rowe, the President of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, James, it's great to be with you. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you and be part of this podcast, so thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking the time to join me. The thing that Bob and I wanted to do today was just kind of get together and welcome you to the podcast, tell you what's going to be going on in the podcast, what you can expect in the future, and just highlight a few of the things going on in the Academy right now that we're going to have some guests on about in the future to talk about in more detail. But I mean, first, this will be our second episode out. And to this point, I have been the interviewer. But that's not going to be the case moving forward. This is going to be mostly driven by members. Right now, we have the team of Eric Robertson, Moyo Tillery, Emmanuel Jackson, who's a PT student at Marymount University, Ben Braxley, and of course, Jimmy McKay is helping us navigate this whole world of podcasts and communications. And you're going to see all those people conducting these interviews. So for now, you've seen me, but that's not going to be the case always moving forward. But we're really excited about the podcast as another way for us to talk to our members and to talk to the profession. And this is really part of a bigger effort by the Academy in the world of communications. And some things that we're doing are hiring more people on our communications team, on our staff in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And I think that's going to be a big shift for us in the way we communicate. What do you want to say about that, Bob?
Well, thanks, James. And I'll take a step back and I want to recognize you because this is really the podcast is your vision and you've been the champion of this. And so congratulations on getting this implemented and off the ground. And as you said, it's part of a bigger picture and bigger package for us to engage our members. And because it's really important for us, we're making great strides and it's we're gonna do lots of different activities and initiatives to do everything we can to engage our members in many different ways because we know people want to and need to engage us differently, and so we're going to offer lots of different opportunities so that people can take advantage of that engagement differently. And so this is one way for our members to engage us, and so thanks for getting this rolling. So appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem. Thanks, Bob. I mean, I think we've needed a podcast and some of these other things for a long time because I mean, there's so much that the Academy does and that APTA does that is just difficult to convey to everybody. And like you said, this is one more different way for us to talk about what the Academy's been doing, what we're up to, and where we're headed.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We've never had a communications team, and that was the idea of our executive director, Terry DeFlorian, who sat down and did some brainstorming and decided that, looking at all of the things that we were doing as a board and then recognizing, we need to start figuring out how to do a better job of getting the word out about the great things that we were doing. And she came up with the idea and brought it to me. And then eventually we brought it to the board of this concept of creating a communications team within staff. And obviously we thought it was great and it resonated strongly with us. And so we've been doing that now for the past 18 months. She initially hired a consultant that came in and did a review and then gave us recommendations. And so since then, we've been building a communications team, and we're going to continue down that path for the next couple of years, slowly growing that. And but already we see huge differences in our ability to get the word out, to share information with our members, and not just our members, but actually other external stakeholders. And I think it's very powerful, our ability to reach out to people, and it's getting better and better. Just every time I look, and I'm hearing lots of great feedback from people within the profession and even from outside the profession of what a great job they feel like we're doing of getting the word out about the things that are going on within AOPT.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, that comment about being outside the profession too. I mean, this is another way that we can touch people outside of the academy and outside of physical therapy to get our message across. And like you said, it's just one piece of a much bigger picture. And with that, I mean, we're going to be talking about on this podcast topics that are intrinsic to the academy. Of course, the things we're working on and what we're doing, but the list of individuals that I talked about earlier who are going to be contributing as interviewers to this. I saw their list of people that they want to interview, and it's more than I could have imagined. It's fascinating people. Many that are doing stuff within the academy, but some that aren't. They're just outside in the physical therapy world doing really cool things. So I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it.
That list of people that you put together is fun. That's a fun list of people.
Yeah. They came up with ideas that I couldn't have dreamed of. I think I was excited about the podcast, but my vision of it was really quite boring compared to what they've come up with. So it's going to be a good time. But the thing that Bob and I wanted to do today was just, talk a little bit about a few of our favorite things going on in the academy right now. And our first episode was with Patrick Berner of PT in the Community, which is now a part of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy. And it did strike me in that first podcast episode of just what a powerful platform this might be for talking about the different things going on. And in that episode, Patrick talks about a lot of the service opportunities that are going to be going on at CSM and all of that. So I invite you to move backwards and check out that episode when you're done with this one. But another one of my favorite things that the Academy is working on with the private practice section, now APTA private practice, and with APTA is the payment consortium. And I remember maybe two CSMs ago, Bob, you and Mike Horsfield, president of private practice,
right,
and several individuals got together in a room, and I thought of taking a picture at that time. I had my phone in my pocket, and I thought I should have taken a picture because it felt like it was the beginning of really a much bigger project. And I think the payment consortium is it's still evolving, is going to deliver on that in a way that we can really impact payment in physical therapy.
Yeah. And, it's been a great path. When I first was elected, even before I took office, I was at a meeting, an APTA meeting, and bumped into Mike and said, Mike, we need to get together and do some stuff. And he said, well, we're already doing some stuff. And I said, I know, but we're doing this much. I said, we need to blow it up. We need to do something really, really big. And he got excited. His eyes got big and he got really excited. And that really started the conversation and started us down our path. And we started having frequent meetings and conversations, and it's led to this payment consortium. And we have a great model right now, but it's going to continue to evolve. And it's amazing to see the wins that we've had just in being in our infancy, and we're having really great wins. And we have a document that demonstrates these wins. And I just shared that with the board a couple of weeks ago, and really impressive, the things that have been accomplished so far. And it's only going to keep getting better and better and better. And the goal is to increase payment, for our members, for our clinicians, and decrease administrative burden. and improve access, for patients. That's really the goals of what we want to do with this payment consortium. And so, that's the key. And we need to, just keep pressing on, and we'll keep pushing it. And it's a huge investment in human resources and financial resources. And but you know what, for the benefit of our members, it's necessary. And so we put it as a very, very high priority.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're not going to have time to get into too much of the details here, but it's a bit of a teaser for the future. There will be episodes coming about the Payment Consortium, what they have accomplished, what they are moving towards. Hopefully we'll get to talk with Bob Hall, who's our payment specialist and consultant, who's, we call him the tip of the spear. He's the guy that we've put at the head of it, and he's driving everything. So more on that to come. Bob, I think there was something you wanted to talk about, digital education platforms. There's so much in this area. I'm curious to see which part of it and which piece you're going to say.
Well, the AOPT, for years, going back to when it was orthopedic section, for so many years has just been a leader in education, putting out such tremendous products, educational products for our members, and obviously in non-members as well. And but there's so many more opportunities for us to amp it up and to create products that are just even more engaging and have better opportunities to make it more alive. And we can do that through digital technology product, by adding digital technology into those products. And so we've are engaging with an external vendor who's in that space. And I can't expose the vendor yet, but because we haven't signed the contract yet, but pretty soon, have me back on a show in maybe a couple of months, and we can talk about this. And but we're going to have this external vendor who's going to come in and partner with us. And we're going to be putting all of our educational materials on steroids, and we're going to make it more fun, more more engaging, and it's just going to make it more interesting for the learners to utilize our products. And so we're really, really excited, and it's really the other opportunity is that it's going to expand the products that we're doing. So instead of we have a great great products right now with the CPGs and the independent study courses, but it's going to allow us to create even more products that we haven't even been doing in the past. And so we're going to have more products available for our members that we haven't even had in the past. So really exciting time, and can't wait to be able to roll that stuff out. We'll be doing a lot of development in 2024, and it's really the big rollout. The plan for the rollout implementation is 25. So really excited to be able to introduce that, and can't wait for that to happen in 25.
Yeah. I remember, 17 years ago when I was a student, I always thought of the ortho section at that time as being the experts, as having the education, as having the materials and resources. And I know in discussions with Jimmy McKay over the years, who's helping out with this. Well, he's not helping out with this podcast. I'm helping out with this podcast. He's doing it. Thank you to Jimmy. But he would talk about the academy specifically, and also APTA in general, as being the experts, and where PTs and PTAs and students should be getting a lot of their education. And this effort is really going to contemporize all that, make the education accessible to more people. It's real. The stuff we're talking about and moving towards is really quite exciting. That's
a great word, contemporize. I think that's a great way of putting it. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Hey, I have one final segment for us today, unless there's another topic that you want to bring up before we move towards closing. Yeah. Okay. I call this segment "Get to Know Bob."
you and I are probably going to get together like this from time to time on this podcast and talk about stuff. But let's use this opportunity to find out who the president of the academy is. I think you're probably, one of the more famous PTs in the association. You've been around, you've done a lot, your face is out there, you know a lot of people. But how did you come to be involved in APTA, and what brought you to the Ortho Academy? And tell us just a little bit about your path. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a story, but for years after I graduated, I really wasn't very much involved. I was just kind of hanging out, and I was just one of the people. And I would go to, growing up in Louisiana as a PT, I would go to the state meetings, and I would go do things at the Capitol when they had Capitol days, and but I wasn't really like this strong advocate. And one day I was doing, I did my residency and fellowship, and one of my good friends and colleagues who I was working with at LSU Health Science Center was president of the chapter in Louisiana, and we were negotiating. We were going for direct access and negotiating for with the chiropractors, and he invited me to a meeting, and I wasn't typically involved in that stuff, but he knew that I knew the nomenclature, and I knew the world, and I knew manual therapy, and so he said, "Can you come, so that they don't, do something crazy, and don't pull, something over our heads." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come to the meeting, Dave." And so we go to the meeting, and we're standing in the Capitol outside the Senate conference chambers, and there was four of us standing there, and it was Dave Pariser, David Qualls, and Paul Hildreth, and myself, and the lobbyist for the chiropractors, Kathy Chittum, comes walking up to us, and it first starts off just some chit chat, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, she says, "I don't know why we're having this meeting. I own the Senate Health Committee, and they're going to do whatever I tell them to do." And at that moment in time, like, I had this epiphany. It was like a Saul to Paul conversion, like in the Bible, where like every hair on my head stood up, every cell in my body started spinning like I was in an MRI. And I think I probably started levitating off the ground. I'm not sure. But like I had both a physiologic, emotional, like in every way possible, who I was at that moment in time changed. And she said that, it was like, drop the mic, and she walked away. And I'm just looking at these guys, and I'm saying, how could you let her get away with that and not do anything? And they said, well, it's because it's the truth. That's accurate. And it was that moment in time I said, I'm never gonna, I will fight for the rest of my life and not allow that to ever happen again. And that's when I became Bob Rowe, people know me today as
the Bob Rowe.
Yeah. Well, and I hate to say it like that because it sounds kind of arrogant and egotistical, but that's how I became who I am.
Yeah. It's fun to watch you like walk around a conference and just person after person come up and chase you down. And it's a real phenomenon.
So I came to the ortho section, and like almost simultaneously, I got involved in AOPT and ortho section simultaneously, and just started on a parallel path, being involved in both groups, and got into leadership roles in both groups, and then also got into leadership roles in APTA. And so like I was just, and I was involved in leadership roles both in Louisiana, and then when I moved from Louisiana to Florida, I was in leadership roles. So I've just been in all these professional service leadership roles in all of these different places. And it's just my passion. I just love doing it. And it's not a burden to me. And, people will say all the time, well, Bob, thank you so much for doing that. It's like, well, thank you for thanking me, but you really don't have to thank me, because I love doing it. And it's my passion. It's what I love to do. Some people love going golfing. Some people love fishing, and some people love skiing. My passion is advocacy, and fighting for patients' rights. I believe that, and I say this, and I don't know that people believe that I'm really sincere. I think people think that I'm being kind of goofy sometimes, but I honestly and sincerely believe this in my heart and soul, that every patient every day deserves the best care that's available. And I'm not going to rest until that happens. And that's what drives me every single day. So on Sunday nights, when my wife and daughter are sitting there and thinking, oh, we got to go to school tomorrow, because my wife's a school teacher and my daughter, of course, is in school. Oh, we got to go to school. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I get to go to work tomorrow, because I'm going to do something good. I know we're going to do something good tomorrow, because we're gonna make the world a better place, because that's what we do, right? Whether it's in my day job or whether it's in AOPT or whatever else I'm doing, the goal is to make the world a better place for our patients. And that's
let me pull out a thread a little bit here, Bob. It just seems like a conversation that just kind of got dropped in our laps. Because I've been doing that. I really like the advocacy work. That's a piece of APTA involvement that speaks to me, and I found that's where I get the most satisfaction. And what you said about that kind of shocking, jarring moment, I just had one this week.
Oh yeah.
And even though I've been doing it for a while, I don't think I've had a this in your face kind of political moment where my brain and my body and everything is going, but that's wrong. That is not right. And I got off the phone with the person telling me about it, and I explained the situation to my wife, and she said, man, if people knew that this is what APTA was doing, that these are the fights that individuals like you and I and many of hundreds others across the country are doing,
right?
They would be so much more on board. How do we get that message out to people? Because it's hard work, it's important work, and when you hear the whole story, it's shocking to the system what people are going through to just make little changes in laws and legislature to improve access to physical therapists and things of that nature.
Yep. It's a great question, and it's hard because, and I'll share a couple of things that I don't know that I have the answer, but I'll share a couple of things. One is that many of us are so busy doing, we don't have time to talk about it. And that's just the way it is, and, the other part is that we're not really good at bragging about ourselves. Like having this conversation right now is really kind of hard, for me. Like you said, tell me about who you are. And it's like, I don't want to tell you who I am, because I just want to go do it. I don't want to talk about myself, and so that's hard for us, for a lot of us to talk about ourselves. And because then when we talk about like what we did, then it sounds like we're bragging or it's like, I don't want to brag about it. I just want to go do it, and so then it goes by and nobody knows it, and then the third piece is that we don't always have great communication teams. Like, so AOPT right now is building a great communication team, but for years we didn't have a great communication team. So we didn't have a way to get the word out. We have the beginning of one now, and we're doing such a better job today than we did 2 years ago. And in 2 years from now, we're going to be doing even a better job. But, that's something that's going to evolve over time. So those are some reasons that I think like people just don't know. And I'll never forget an experience that you had. If you don't mind me sharing a personal experience of a story for you.
I don't know what's coming, but yeah, go for it. This will be a fun memory for me.
Then we started having board meetings at APTA headquarters. And part of it was for lots of reasons, but one was to meet with staff so we could develop a relationship with staff and learn about what's going on in APTA. And
let me just clarify for the audience, the Ortho Academy board with APTA national staff.
Correct.
To connect the lines between APTA and AOPT.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, no problem.
And one of the things that we would do is bring in Justin Moore, who's the CEO of APTA, and he would talk and share, what's going on and talk about the landscape. And I'll never forget, you would come out of that and like, oh my God, that was so enlightening. I learned so much from that in that 45-minute presentation from Justin. It's like, everybody needs to hear this. And you were so excited about it. And you were just so like, everybody needs to hear this, And it's like, so how do we get that out to people? And that's the question. How do you get that out? How do you get that 45 minutes?
300,000 or so physical therapists in America got to sit down for 15 minutes with Justin Moore. We'd have 300,000 APTA members. Exactly. He's on my short list for guests for this podcast. So I'm coming for you, Justin. I hope you'll say yes. Because this can be a way to I hope this can be a way to deliver that message and to give him a platform to do what he does, which is just know everything about our profession and to be moving in a really positive direction on it.
And Justin's so phenomenal. I mean, he's got such a vision, and he just has his perspective and how he views the world is just so amazing, and his ability to engage people and so I think the world of Justin. I'm so thankful that he's in the role that he's in as our CEO.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Justin. Expect the invite. On that, I think we've done a good job of hopefully of introducing this podcast to everybody, and I hope you all will keep coming back for more. We're going to have lots of episodes, like I said, many talking about different things going on in the academy and association, but a lot that are going to serve as entertainment value and just some conversations with some really interesting people in our profession. So stay tuned. There's more to come. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't say we just have to mention that this is our 50th anniversary for AOPT. So 2024 is our 50th anniversary. So this whole year is going to be a celebratory year. So obviously at CSM in Boston, we're going to have some activities going on, some celebration activities, but it's not just isolated to CSM. We have lots of things going on throughout the year. So go to the website and look for what's going on, and you can see there's going to be a lot of different activities to take advantage of and to participate in. So,
and do come seek us out at CSM. We've got some great celebrations going on, and okay. The ramp up to CSM, here it comes, the big show. I love CSM every year.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Bob, because that is something I should not gloss over.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, thank you all, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.